Hey there, Pro Church Media community, this is Jason. In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to create animated glitch effects inside of Photoshop pretty quickly and easily. It's a little bit of a roundabout way to do it, but it can be done, so let's create some animated glitch inside of Photoshop. So let's get into Photoshop and create a new document with Command N. I'm going to make mine 1080 by 1920, kind of an Instagram size or something like that. And I need to find an image, so a great place to find images if you're looking for them is to go to prochurchmedia.com/freechurchphotos, and you're going to find a bunch of handpicked, curated photos that are going to work great for all of your projects. And since they're all from Unsplash, they're all free to use for whatever you want, so be sure to check that out. And on this page, we have just a bunch of collections that are already put together just for your convenience, so be sure to check them out, and you'll be able to find some really great photos. Okay, so I found this photo on Unsplash that I want to use. It's just this really colorful one right here. And so I think I'll just toss it in here. Actually, before I do that, what I want to do is create a smart object with this background. So let's just double click on the background and then just right click and say convert to smart object. And I kind of went through this in a previous tutorial about just regular glitch effects, and so I'm not going to go over all that, but if you're interested in how to actually just create glitch effects inside of Photoshop, be sure to check that out. But now that I have this smart object created, I'm going to now go into it by double clicking it and then put the photo into the smart object. So I'm just going to grab this photo, drop it in there, scale it up so it fills the frame, something like that. I think that will be great. Hit Command S to save and jump back over to my other document. Okay, so now I want to make sure my video timeline is visible, so if you don't see this, just go up to Window and then go down to Timeline, and if you already have it up, it'll hide it. If you don't have it up, it will reveal it. And just hit Create Video Timeline and you'll have your timeline there. I want to start by creating a different frame rate for this, so if you go to this little hamburger menu, just click on that, go to Set Timeline Frame Rate. And I want to change this to 12 frames per second. And I think we only need it to be about 3 seconds long or so. And so I'm just going to trim it back to that. And then move the playhead back. Just zoom in here a bit. And I think that'll work. Okay. So let's start off with our first glitch effect. So let's just duplicate this. And be sure to drag it back. You'll notice that it duplicated it right where that playhead was, so if you want to duplicate it right at the beginning, just make sure you're at the beginning and then do Command J to duplicate it, and that'll do that. Alright, so let's create some glitch effect on this. So first of all, I just want to do kind of like the anaglyph effect, so I'm going to double click here, turn off the green and the blue channel, and then I can just scoot it over a bit, scoot it up, and so we have that kind of anaglyph look going on, and you can play with it however you want, maybe even scale it up just a bit, something like that, a little off center, looks great. Okay, so now I also want to add a wave effect to it, so I'm going to go up to filter and then go down to distort and then choose wave. And then you can choose whatever options you want. It'll give you a little preview here. I think I'm going to go with what I have here probably. You can play around with these until you get what you want, but I think that'll work pretty good. And I'm going to hit OK. And so now we have our first glitch effect here. Okay, so now what I want to do is, unfortunately, there's no way to actually animate the glitch effects inside of Photoshop like the smart filters. It's just not an option inside of Photoshop. And so we can get around that by just kind of splitting this and then changing it up, and so you'll see how I do this. So I'm going to move forward to about 2 frames, and you can go to this little scissors icon and just click that, and it's going to split it. I've also mapped this to a keyboard shortcut. I did Command Alt V just to make it easier. And so if you do want to create a keyboard shortcut, all you have to do is go up to Edit and then go to Keyboard Shortcuts. And I believe this was maybe Panel Menus, go down to Timeline Video, and then find that split at playhead, and you can see I have Option Command V. You can choose something else, like you could do Option Command C. It's going to whine at you usually that it's already being used for something else. I did Command Option V because I think it was originally set to like vanishing point or something, which I don't use a whole lot, so I'm just going to use this, and you can use whatever you want, of course, but I'll just hit OK. And now I can just use Command Option or Alt V to split it. And since I'm going to be doing this a lot, it's going to really be helpful. Okay, so do that keyboard shortcut to split it, and now with this selected, I just need to go to this wave, double click on it. I'm just going to click randomize a couple times, and now you can see if you just kind of scrub through, we already have the glitch effect. And so we're just going to be doing this over and over and over ad nauseum until we get it how we want it. So I'm just going to keep moving forward and doing this, and I won't make you listen to me talk, so I'll just do this for a little bit and I'll do the speed up thing. Okay, so since I want my thing to be about 3 seconds long, I'm here at 1 second and 6 frames, which is actually, since we're using 12 frames a second, is halfway through this composition. I don't want to have to do this for all of them. You can certainly do that if you want to. So I'm just going to duplicate these and just reuse them. So I'm just going to get rid of this one, and then make sure all of these are selected, and then do Command C and then Command V to just paste them in place, and you'll see now we have duplicates right above. Unfortunately, this isn't smart enough to paste them right there, but then all you have to do is grab them, drag them over, and now we have our glitch effect throughout the entire thing, and you can see we have that nice glitch effect going on, and that was pretty easy. Okay, so just to clean things up, let's just grab all of these and group them with Command G, and now we have a nice little group there. Let's just lock that off right now and turn it off just so we don't accidentally mess it up. Okay, let's do another glitch effect. So let's duplicate this again. Let's put this up above and bring it all the way back. And for this one, I'm going to do a few different things with it. So let's see. I'm going to turn back on the, make sure the channels are back on. They are. And then let's go to filter, let's do wave again, and I think I might just change this one up a bit more, maybe use the square, maybe adjust the wavelength a bit, just to give it a different look, maybe something like that. That's kind of cool. Hit OK, this might actually look better than the preview that I did. Okay, so that's kind of fun. Alright, so now let's, we're going to do the exact same process, so let's move forward to 2 frames, Command V, or Command Alt V to split it, which is what I mapped it to, and then come to this wave, randomize, and so on and so forth. I'll do the speed up thing again. To about halfway through, I'm going to split them all again, copy and paste them just like I did for this, and so I'll just do that real quick. Okay, so now I have all of this glitch effect done. You can play it back and you can see that actually looks pretty cool. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm going to group this into a smart object instead of just grouping it, because we're going to be using this as a clipping mask eventually. So with these all selected, just right click and say, not create clipping mask, convert to smart object, and it'll give you one smart object. I might just call this like glitch 2, and that'll be good. Okay. What I want to do with this one, since it is so, distorted and stuff like that, I think I might actually turn it upside down, so I might just flip the vertical like that. But I want to use some rectangles to mask it so that I'm only seeing little bits and pieces of this, but I also want the rectangle mask to be animated as well. And so you could just draw a bunch of rectangles and then animate the transform, but that would be super tedious. And so what I'm going to do for this instead is just grab my rectangle tool with U. Doesn't really matter what color it is, and then I'm just going to start drawing some rectangles. And I just kind of want thin strips for the most part. You can go with whatever look you want. Just kind of randomize different shapes, different sizes, just something like that, not too many of them. And then I'm going to select them all, right click, say merge shapes, and so now that's going to be one shape. I need to make sure this is at the very beginning. All right, and then I'm going to come over here and then do the split right there. And then I actually want to just keep drawing more rectangles just to make sure it's really random, because there's no way I'm going to recreate those accidentally. And so I'm just going to draw some more rectangles here, something like that. Make sure I select all of them except that bottom one. Right click, merge shapes, and so on and so forth. And so I'm going to do the exact same process that I did for these, duplicate them all and stuff like that. So I'll do that real quick. Okay, so now I have all these rectangles, and if you play it back, you can see we have the glitch, we have the rectangles going, so it's going to be just a really fun look. Okay, so now what we need to do is let's group all of these into one group. So select all your rectangles, do Command G to group them, and then we need to put them below that glitch 2, and then right click on glitch 2, and this time say create clipping mask, and now it's only going to show up inside of those rectangles, and so you can see what's happening there, and there was some kind of weird glitch right there. I don't know what is quite going on, but it actually might be kind of fun. I may have overlapped them or something. Or it might just be something with the resolution. Okay, it seems to have fixed it. Okay, so you can see that's kind of fun, and so if we twirl that back down, we can maybe group those together just to make things nice and tidy. Command G. Turn this other one back on, and so now we have these two glitch effects working in tandem, and that's pretty sweet. But we can push this even just a bit further. So let's go into our smart object by double clicking on that. Let's create another video timeline. Be sure to change this to 12 frames per second for the frame rate, and let's put it back down to 3 seconds. We can move this back down here and this down here. And I think I might also put some text in here, so I'm just do T to pull up my text tool. Just type in love never fails. I'm using the font Ephra, which you can get from Adobe Fonts. It's really awesome, so be sure to check that out. I'm just putting it straight here in the middle, and I think let's maybe make it just a bit bigger. There we go. And move that back to 3 seconds. Okay, so I just want to basically adjust the transform position of the image and the text. So this one we can actually use the animation tools here. So I'm going to set a keyframe for the transforms for both of these. And then let me zoom in here a bit. Move forward to 2 seconds just to kind of keep the same consistency. And then I'm just going to maybe rotate a bit, put it over to the side, come forward to 4 seconds, maybe move it over here, rotate it the other way. Just these nice subtle movements, not too crazy. You can do whatever you want, but I want it to be pretty tasteful. As tasteful as glitch can be, I suppose. Move it over there, rotate it a bit, and just keep doing this. Go forward to 4 frames, move it over here. That might be a bit too much, but that's okay. And then 6, let's kind of move it back to the middle. Over there like that, maybe down. All right, so now what you can also do is we want to make you'll notice if you play it back, it's just kind of sliding in between, which is not bad. But you can also do hold keyframes, which is basically going to say keep this value until it gets to the next one. So you can just select them all, right click and say hold interpolation. And now you can see it's just going to give more of that kind of stop motion feel to it. You can go either way, depending on what you want to do. But now I want to copy all of these, and so you might just think do Command C, Command V, but if you do that, it's going to actually paste the entire layer. So instead, what you have to do is just make sure all these keyframes are selected, then go over to this hamburger menu, come down to the keyframes menu, and then choose copy, and then just move forward, and then again, click that, go to keyframes and choose paste, and then it'll paste those keyframes, and now you'll have basically those keyframes pasted again, and it'll just reuse them. You don't have to make every single move if you don't want to. You can, of course, if you want to. So I'm going to do the same thing with the love. And I might leave these as linear just to kind of see what that looks like. Okay, so now we'll do Command S to save this. Now we can go back to our main document, and now all of those glitch effects are going to be affected by this smart object, and so it should give us an interesting look, and it will be pretty render intensive probably, so you might have to wait for it to play through like this. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how the text is kind of a little bit off. I kind of like that. So, I mean, you can do whatever you want, whichever way you want, so yeah, this is kind of fun. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to create animated glitch effects inside of Photoshop, even though it's really an image editing app. It still can create some really cool stuff. And I mean, this is just scratching the surface. You could layer a whole bunch of different effects and animate them using the exact same techniques that we used here. So yeah, get into Photoshop, play around with some glitch effects, play around with some animation, have some fun, create some cool stuff, and I will talk to you later. If you like this tutorial, be sure to visit ProChurchMediaUniversity.com, where you can find full courses, workshops, training, and more. ProChurchMediaUniversity.com.